Welcome to Right Here, Right Now with Archita. Today's topic is about California wildfires. But before I begin, I'm going to go totally unscripted here. Tell you a little about my current projects, mostly in the humanitarian space. Some of them I'm really proud of. I left my job in December 2019 at a cloud security company because I was straddling between two worlds. I was a filmmaker as well, and I decided to pursue filmmaking. I was working on a documentary feature, writing a bunch of scripts, as well as designing and conceptualizing a talk show around technology and innovation. That's when pandemic hit, and I've started this series now, Right Here, Right Now with Archita, with the sole intention of highlighting good work done at the ground level, sometimes maybe not getting enough coverage, as well as talking to COVID experts, calm some nerves whenever possible, and also dig some stories worth telling. So in the last few months, I've been working with an organization called HOPE B Lit, which is based out of LA, and very ably run by the founder, whose name is Ruhi, who's also a techie, as well as an award-winning filmmaker. Together, we joined hands to work on several different projects. One of them is about the California wildfires that we're going to be talking about today. While filming, Ruhi and the production team, particularly at the LNU fire site, discovered a lot more than they were up for. The homelessness of the people whose homes have been destroyed in the fires and the helplessness was really very eye-opening, and not to mention heart-wrenching. HOPE B Lit, the organization that Ruhi is the founder of as well, decided to step in and help out wherever they could, especially with Spanish flag. Today, I want to bring Ruhi on board to talk a little about what she has seen while she was filming there, what are the different needs of the people displaced by these fires. Let's talk to her. Let's get to the heart of it.
I'm the founder of HOPE B Lit, and we're a little organization up in LA where we really go on the ground and try and do what we can wherever there's a need that arises. Mostly focused on kids and women, but of course with COVID and the fires and the hurricanes, there's no demarcation, and the children in a household get affected by what's happening in the family. So it's an overall effort to do what we can.
I've updated the viewers about the filming of the LNU fires, and I'd love for you to tell us what did you discover during filming, because I believe there was a lot of destruction that you've seen, and walk us through that entire experience.
So I'm not that familiar with fires. I've not really been in an area that has such massive devastation based on, a fire. So it was a really eye-opening experience for me, of course, traumatizing as well, because there's almost nothing left when you actually stand over a house that's been impacted by these huge fires. And it's, as a person who's just visiting or documenting, it's a different feel. But to be that person who just lost everything, I can't even fathom how they must be feeling. So it was an eye-opener, and I'm glad I was there to experience it, to be with the people, and to do what we could in a small way to help the community that we actually visited.
Tell us a little bit about their challenges. I believe you've met people and you've seen a lot of things, and you know a lot of things because you were right there on the ground. So tell us a little bit about all these people that you've met, what their current challenges are like.
So we met a few people who had been impacted. We had to really look for them. It was hard because the one thing that was very strange to me was that they didn't have very concrete directions. And I always thought that, the first thing that happens in a fire is probably that they get told where to go. It was very vague also because the fires are moving in such a fast, it was really fast the way the fires moved. I think maybe that's why they were not updated, and there were different areas so widely spread that they probably couldn't cope up with that. But that was the first thing that I noticed, that there were not definite directions on certain areas where they could go. And and they were either in parking lots where I met them, or they were, outside shopping malls. So it was that was kind of sad to see. Also, a lot of people were coming together to give them things. The other second important point I noticed was that a lot of people, they're trying to do their best to try and give them what they think they need. But at this point, I think having somebody visit and see what they exactly need would be really better and more helpful, because they're pretty much living in cars right now, and it's a big traumatic shock for them to suddenly lose a perfectly safe home and be in a car with either a pet or family members, or alone, even worse. So it's something to do where you can actually go and approach them and ask them what they need, and then bring it to them, because handing out food is great, but also clothes, they don't have any space. So that's the other thing that I noticed.
And for people who cannot go up to these sites, are there any organizations that we can collaborate with or contribute to? What are your recommendations?
I mean, we are an organization. We are working directly with these members on the ground. So we would love to get any contribution. If you want to directly go to Spanish Flats, if you communicate with us, we can actually directly connect you with them. And that would be the best, because the lesser the layers between the end person who's in need and the person who's actually giving is always the best way to go, because you have a direct experience with them. Also, of course, with time and also the areas being so far away, you can communicate with us. We can tell you exactly where the money is going, because that's the best way. I see a lot of big organizations trying to help, but it takes time, and time is not something that these people have. Just to give you a background, we just, as you know, we just had that eviction notice that was served to them on a Friday afternoon or morning, somewhere there, and they approached us and reached out to us. And we're not from Napa, and so it was not a familiar location for us. Reaching out to the local organizations didn't help us much, because they worked in a slower process, needing policies. And so I directly wrote to the city and the county, and the county really, the Napa County really came forward, and the housing department helped us. But if they didn't, or these people didn't reach out to us, they would be evicted as of Monday morning, which is, further traumatizing. They're already homeless based on the fires.
So I'm going to leave the contact information of Hope B Lit, and tell us a little bit about your other projects, upcoming projects or ongoing projects that you are involved in.
We have many. I mean, it's been one of those interesting years where every day you find or a new project finds you. It's not been an easy year for anybody, but it's been a year where we all need to come together. And I think these fires, these hurricanes, the COVID pandemic, it's hopefully leaving us with that thought where anything can happen to anyone. So just reach out to your communities. I mean, even if you don't reach out to us, reach out to your own communities. I mean, if it happened in Napa, I was telling the local people to reach out to their local communities. I'm sure there's enough empathy in the human race to kind of come together and help each other. So our projects are basically, right now we're working with the police department. We're trying to do something for their frontline workers who are serving in the prisons as nurses and doctors. So we're trying to do something for them as an appreciation effort. We also worked with them earlier in the year and provided protective gear. So there's a lot of need in the prisons and the jails and these systems. So that's our project for till the rest of the year. We also have something going on in India where we are working with the farmers and trying to adopt a village and really put them back on their feet. I mean, there's farms that have been destroyed. There's a lot that's happened there as well. So trying to do what we can here locally, and also back in India as well.
So how was the experience filming when you were out there with the crew? As you said, I know you said that this isn't something that you've done before. It was a very surreal experience.
So I mean, fires is not something I've done before. Filming, yes. I've filmed with children braving cancer. I've been to a multi-city events that we did there, and we captured interviews. That's pretty intense as well. There's a different intensity with each trauma that one goes through. Generally speaking, trauma has an impact on a person where you really, I think, have to try and feel what they're feeling, and then you can move forward from there. I think trying to do something without really being in their shoes, whether it's fire or it's cancer, it's really hard. It's you don't build that connection. But yeah, we filmed movies and interviews based on on those interviews. We made a movie. on children braving cancer. We also were in Africa, so we made a little documentary on actually building water tanks from scratch, and how you don't need a huge organization to do that. You can actually do it within a small group that can go actually to a village in Africa and build these tanks with the communities. So there's been different projects just to bring forward as to how it doesn't always have to be a big organization that needs to come forward. You can't keep waiting for these organizations to show up. You really have to show up yourself.
Okay, would you like to tell us about Right Here, Right Now's involvement so that we can tell our viewers? It is exciting that we're getting into a lot of things, but I personally, this is a very enlightening time for me to be associated with Hope B Lit, to be able to witness all the good work that you do, and be able to be one of the producers. And this has been a really very trying time and very trying year. So anything that you want to talk to us about?
Yes, I think working with us is trying. I agree with that, because we're not your regular production that just goes and documents something and can walk away from what they've just documented. And I think that's why we have the tag where we just don't make movies, we make a difference. We make a movie and we just don't walk away from what we've just seen. We try to do the next step, because documenting is the first step, which is great, and we love that you've come forward, and we love partnering with you with the production that you have, the Tapping Wands production. So it's great to work with people who understand that we would not just go in and walk away from something that we saw on the ground. And I think not all productions understand that. They do get the feedback on what was shot and from the lens of a camera, but really the lens is in the heart, and what the eye sees, the heart has to fathom and understand, and then empathize with what we're seeing, and then take the next step. You've just documented it. Let's take the next step and see what can be done with what's just being documented. So I think that's what we did here, and that's what we do with every movie or every documentary that we film. So it's really exciting. The Forgotten Ones is going to be a great series. I'm really excited about it. As we're penning this down, I think it's something. It's not just the forgotten ones; it's also the forgotten feelings, right? I think COVID has made us reconnect with them. So I guess in a way, it's been a year where we've been more grateful and hopefully more empathetic to what's going on around us. So a learning process for everyone. And I just hope that none of us fails to learn from it.
Totally agree. Can't agree more. It has been very eye-opening for me to see how all these pieces come together, but also to kind of move beyond filmmaking and introduce all these angles of, in such humanitarian projects, that you actually get to witness something really, really tangible, which is just beyond a product, touching these lives. And you've done some really excellent work on the field before, and I wish you luck ahead, Ruhi.
Thank you, Archita.